Hey everybody, thought I'd give you a quick update on Bitcoin USD on some different time frames here. Just kind of what I'm looking at. Start off here on the 4 hour. What happened recently? We just been in this kind of chop area. Really, this whole entire section in here just been kind of back and forth. We had this little bear section in here that didn't last very long. I don't know if this one will last very long or not, but I am going to still respect it. And I did get out of my positions and just in case this thing goes down a little bit. And the reason I got out of the positions was based on the daily, which we'll go over here in a second. But right now on the 4 hour, we're sitting here on the threshold to the downside. The shallow fib is at 55.7. It's kind of pushing up a little bit above that, but we're not close to getting back into the bull zone just yet. It's going to probably take around 58 or so to kind of get us going. But right now, the selling interest should be happening around the 61.8% at 56.8. And these two moving averages, I'm looking at the 55 and the 144. Uh, and of course, since we've been in this chop back and forth, the moving averages are kind of tying up together. So it's really not giving us a lot of signal. But right now, since it closed three times underneath this, this is now resistance, and the 61.8% level is also resistance. So we got to see if we can push through that or not. One of the things that I did see so far is when you take the latest extension off of this low to this high, as it broke into the new low, it did dip down into the 127 to 141 level and kind of bounced from there. So that was our first sign of hope. But given that we're in the bear zone, I am gonna wait until we get into the bull zone to make any purchases. If it gets down into the zone again, and the RSI looks like it's in a good spot to make a purchase, I'll probably buy in this area in here. But right now, I'm looking at this lower target, especially if we get three 4 hour closes underneath the 141. That target for 51 would come into order. And then, of course, the lower low down here at 46.9 if this thing really wants to crank to the downside. But right now, it looks like we're still in this chop area and area of consolidation, just back and forth, kind of this 53 to 59 zone, and see if we can bust out of one way or the other so we can figure out what's going on. But right now, I am flat short term and waiting for a bull signal on the 4 hour. And the reason I got out of my positions was when you look at the daily here is still in the bear zone. It kind of went up there and touched it, but did not break out of this bear zone just yet. So also on the daily is kind of consolidating also, which the latest threshold right now gives us a shallow fib at 52.1, which is well above that. But given that the daily is still in the bear zone and the momentum is still with the bears, I do want to see if we get a movement down for a little bit of a correction back to this moving average here at about 46, or maybe even down to the shallow fib at 44. So there is that risk to the downside right there. So that's what I'm kind of watching, and really don't want to get back into the 4 hour until uh, it either signals or this daily starts to turn around and break into its own bull zone to give us a little bit more confidence that the market's going to continue to the upside instead of sideways to possibly lower. Uh, Going into a little bit longer term time frame, the weekly is still bullish long term. However, we could still be in a little bit of a corrective mode to where this will go down to the bottom of this bull zone, which would bring us down into this 43 to 44K area, which is kind of the low that we were looking at on some of those other time frames. So that's what I'm kind of concerned with, is a correction back to the mid 40s. Uh, and still stay bullish, but it just could have a larger correction, and that's what I'm kind of waiting on to see if that happens. Now, if this holds, and just like the 4 hour and the daily, if breaks back into the bull zone and gets some momentum behind it, maybe we'll break into new highs and get this weekly going. Get the bulls back in action after this series of corrections or consolidation. And then on the monthly, uh, again, that's what I'm still kind of a little bit nervous of, getting into this low range for June based on the timing of these lows. Back in 17 low, and then we had one in 18, and then right here. Basically, the timing of these lows puts us in a June possibility of a new low, and we had a low in April here of what was the low here in April? About 47. So somewhere between 41.5 and 47 is the low range that could happen in June, which makes sense because when you look at some of these weekly time frames, if it gets down to this 43 and hits that shallow fib on this longer term chart and stays in the bull zone, that would make sense for a dip down into this area because 43 would put it right into this spot, right in here for the June contract or June contract for the June time frame, and then that would give us that low that we're looking for the possibility in June, and then hopefully that would hold, and then start working to the upside. So if it does drop into that 43K, like what the weekly would show on the shallow fib, and then that would hold and keep us bullish, and then take off to the upside. So um, that's one of the reasons I got out all of my stuff on the 4 hour, just to be safe, that this thing could start to correct back, and work its way to the downside. And unfortunately, this latest kind of chop that we've been in, haven't really done too much. Made some decent money on this 4 hour threshold, which didn't really take us up too much, but it was enough to make some good profit. This latest one kind of chopped me around a little bit and got me out, and with a slight loss, which isn't all that bad because that's what I like about the system. Is that you take small losses, but when it really starts to take off, you start really getting some good stuff on the trend. So uh, hopefully this helps looking at these different time frames. Any questions or comments, just let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.